All right, let's talk soil pH for a second. When I was doing my blueberries, one of the things I discovered by doing the blueberries was that the pH of the water that I was using to water them was too high, which would cause the soil to also have high alkaline. How did I know that? Well, I used a device like this. This is a pH meter, and I'm not necessarily recommending this brand, just that you get one. There's an instruction guide. The way that it works is this device has a little LCD screen on it and a spot where you can do tests. And I'm just going to uncover that. That's a bulb that you get wet. That's why I have the cup of water here for that part. All right, so the first thing you do is you turn something like this on. There's a little button here on the side that turns it on, and then you dip it. This whole area can be dipped underwater, so I'm just going to take it and put it into my sample of water. This is just tap water from my kitchen. That's telling me 8.3. I happen to know by swirling it around a little bit that eventually it gets down to 7.9. But that's terrible for blueberries. You see, every 1 point on this pH scale is 10 times more acidic, or 10 times more alkaline. And so if a blueberry is looking for the soil to be 4.5 to 5.5, and you give it 8.0 water, you're adding stuff to the soil that's going to raise the pH, and eventually your blueberries will start having problems because the pH is too high. So here's that, right? And so I know that right now when I water, I'm watering with a soil that is with water that's too alkaline to do the job. It's going to eventually hurt my plants. Let's go take a look at my blueberries, and I'll show you what I mean. All right, here we are by the blueberries. My other one actually has better leaves. They're not as yellow, so I'm showing you the one that's worse off. But what I wanted to show you was these top leaves. Now the bottom leaves are still green and lush and full. I don't know how well you can see that, but they're deep green down at the bottom. It's just the tips that are starting to see the trouble. And I don't know how well you can see that, but what's happening is the leaf is yellow and the veins of the leaf are green. What that means is that the plant is not uptaking iron properly. And the reason it's not is because the pH of the soil is getting in the way. And so that's a sign that it's time to take some action on this blueberry plant, because that will eventually work its way down the plant. So for a lot of people that means changing the acidity of their water by amending it with something temporary. The most common is acetic acid, which is vinegar. You take a couple of tablespoons of household vinegar in a gallon of water. And how much exactly? Well, that depends on your water, right? Doesn't it? It depends on what's in your water that needs to be, that's dissolved in your water that needs to be reversed before the pH of the water. And so that's where you'd use one of those meters, would be to, you add a couple of drops, actually you add a couple of teaspoons for a gallon, and then you measure it. Is it 5.0? If it is, then that's the number of teaspoons that you put in vinegar. The more you, obviously you don't want to put a whole bunch. If you did a cup to a gallon, it'd be far too acidic, and it wouldn't be good for your plant, because blueberries can't handle much under 4.5, and then it's too acidic, and you're going the other way. You're killing it the other direction. So this is important to get right. So here's how we're going to do that. here's how we're going to make sure that we get the right number. The way it works, first I've just taken this ice cream container. It's a 1 gallon and 1 pint container, and I've put 16 cups into it, leaving the pint left. But that's my water test. And we know this water is 8.0 pH or 7.9, somewhere around there. And then I just have some distilled white vinegar, 5% acidity, according to the label here. So we're looking at 5% acidity. And really all I'm going to do is get out my tablespoon and add 2 tablespoons. I know it's at least 2 tablespoons. And then we're going to test it and see where we're at. So just a quick addition. Not super scientific. Alright, saw a couple drops extra go in there, so like I said, the idea is, I don't know that you necessarily need to be super scientific about this. As long as you get relatively close, it'll be happy. And then I'm just gonna mix that up a little. Get it in my okay. I'm just going to turn on my pH meter and we'll see where we're at. Oh, I'm wrong. That's saying 4.6. So perhaps 2 tablespoons is slightly more than I want. Say I want it to be around 5.0. Let's give it a few minutes to make an adjustment. I'm going to swirl it around here. 4.5, 4.6 is the pH that it's giving me. Well, enough time passed that I didn't see the pH go up or down. It was 4.5, 4.6 pretty much consistently, and that means my measurements are wrong. So this is a brand new bucket of water. And so I'm going to do the same thing again, only I'm going to use less vinegar. This time I'm going to mix a full tablespoon. That lid is in the wrong spot. 1 full tablespoon. And instead of going a second full tablespoon, I'm going to go 2 teaspoons. Oop, 1. This is going to be highly scientific. You can tell by the dripping out. But like I said, you don't have to be right on. It just needs to be closer than what I got. I don't want to be 5 times. 4.5 is the max they can handle. I don't want it to be that. Alright, so I've mixed it around a little bit, and I'm going to throw this in. .4 it says. How can that be? I used less. I'm just gonna wash the bulb off a little here. Well, sort of rolling around a bit. .7, 5.8, 6.2, 5.7. It's sort of rolling around a bit. Let's wait for it to get a number. So I'm going to pause you for a minute and come back when it's given me like a steady number. Alright, I waited for a long time and the pH didn't drop. What does that mean? It means I haven't been very scientific up to this point as far as making sure I knew what I was talking about. Let's this is a new bucket of water. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my pH meter in there and sort of rinse it off. That way no previous pH measurement will affect this one. Next I'm going to start with a single tablespoon into a gallon. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I made certain assumptions about how many teaspoons it was going to take to change the acidity of this water. And I didn't do that with any kind of scientific method, I just assumed. And so I'm going to start with 1 tablespoon because I'm pretty sure that 1 tablespoon isn't going to knock me out of my pH. Alright, now my measurement is giving me 5.4, 5.3. Alright, so 5.3 on a tablespoon. So Taylorsville, Utah, 8.0 pH water. 1 tablespoon gets me very close. I don't know if I want to go a whole teaspoon. And I didn't bring a half a teaspoon. Maybe I can just wing it and figure. Again, being scientific. Ooh, too much. Okay, half a teaspoon in addition to my tablespoon. Let's see how it does. That's giving me 5.1. So 1 tablespoon, roughly 1 teaspoon. Like I said, I didn't have exacting measurements, and none of this is exacting measurements, and it doesn't have to be. 5.1. I'm totally thrilled with that. The previous water that I mixed up in this video, I didn't just throw away. I put it on my blueberry plants. I figured even if it was slightly more acidic than I wanted, I could follow it up with a regular watering and reduce that. Plus, vinegar gets eaten by soil microbes, so it doesn't stay in the soil for very long. So one weekly watering slightly more acidic than it should be isn't going to cause permanent damage. So that's how I do it. Now I know. So that's it. I'll catch you on the next video.